So I want to get in on this whole CM Punk thing before it's yesterday's news. I'm hearing a lot of different opinions about what happened with CM Punk. CM Punk walking out on the WWE, going home, taking his ball and going home, so to speak. I've seen a lot of people call him, a crybaby, a sore loser, ungrateful, all those kind of things. I really don't think people know what CM Punk's motives are. I'm suspecting that a lot of the suspected motives of CM Punk's departure are incorrect or overstated or something. Because I've been following CM Punk for a pretty long time. Not as long as some people have followed him. I didn't watch him back in the ROH days, but I've been following him. And, I watch all his interviews. I listen to all his interviews. And, there's a clear difference between CM Punk's attitude now in contrast to his attitude during 2011 when he originally decided to leave. And recently, every time CM Punk has been asked about his position in the company, he said... And I don't take CM Punk to be, a liar or someone who neglects to voice his true thoughts. Every time CM Punk has been asked about his position in the company, as of late, as of these past few years, ever since the whole 2011 angle, he's always said he's satisfied. He said that he is very satisfied with the position he's in. And, he can't, I'm sure he wishes he could be higher. He's one of those guys who wants to be the best, It's not just a gimmick. He wants to be the number one guy. He wants to headline all the pay-per-views, headline WrestleMania. I'm sure he wanted to win the Royal Rumble. But I don't think CM Punk is dissatisfied with his position. I don't think he's dissatisfied with the angles he's been in. Look at the run he's had since coming back from his match with Undertaker. He came back, he had a really great match with Chris Jericho. He began a feud with Paul Heyman, which lasted a long time. And I don't think that Paul Heyman feud was anything that CM Punk would complain about. I think he probably had a lot of fun, especially when it was him versus Brock. You had the parts that were less high profile when he was going against Ryback and Curtis Axel. But I think in the end, the feud wasn't really about Ryback or Curtis Axel. It was always about CM Punk versus Paul Heyman, and those two are really close friends. And that they booked a majority of that feud themselves. So I don't think CM Punk has any complaints about that feud. I think that he probably wish it would have went on longer. After the feud with Paul Heyman, he got into a feud with The Shield. And I don't think The Shield is any sort of feud to cry about. The Shield has been working with the top guys, since their debut, and I know that CM Punk is a fan of all three of those guys. I think it's a great position. I was really hoping to see CM Punk take on the Shield, and I was very happy to see that. I guess I forgot to mention before the Shield, he was in a program with the Wyatts, who, again, not a bad program to be in. John Cena is entering a program with the Wyatts. So, what's good for Cena has to be good for Punk. So, I don't think he's dissatisfied with his position at all. I think more what it was, injuries. I think he's working through a lot of injuries, and he's probably dissatisfied with his work rate. He doesn't put on the best matches. He's not the most motivated at the moment. He probably feels he has a little incentive to put on the best matches, especially because he's working through injuries. And I do think part of it has to do with dissatisfaction, but I don't think it has to do with this burning dissatisfaction. I think it's more that CM Punk wants to put on the best matches and programs that he can, and he probably doesn't feel that he's being utilized in the best way possible. So I think this walkout represented some sort of minor rebellion against that. I don't think CM Punk will be gone for long. I think if he were gone, we would have heard from WWE by now. I think we would have heard an official statement by WWE saying that CM Punk has been released. we really haven't heard anything from WWE as of yet. So I'm suspecting that CM Punk will probably be on a break until maybe the Elimination Chamber, after the Elimination Chamber, sometime during the build-up to WrestleMania. And I think he'll come back and fulfill the rest of his contract. I think they'll work this whole thing into an angle with Triple H, and I think he'll have a really great WrestleMania match. And after that, I suspect that he'll turn heel. He'll have one final major heel run, maybe against Daniel Bryan, maybe against a new babyface Roman Reigns, maybe Big E Langston, maybe against all these babyfaces that he didn't really get to feud with during his other heel runs. And I think he'll have a really big program come June when his contract is over, and I think CM Punk will kind of ride off into the sunset during June when his contract is up. And I don't think that will be the last of CM Punk either. I just think that will be the last of him for maybe another year, until maybe next year's Royal Rumble. I think there's a very high chance that CM Punk will win the Royal Rumble in 2015. Especially if he becomes a part-timer, because, WWE loves to have part-timers win the Royal Rumble. I wouldn't be surprised if CM Punk knows that and he's playing off that whole thing, Because if he can't win the Rumble as a full-time wrestler, maybe he figures he could win the Rumble if he comes back after a year. But I don't expect this departure to be permanent. I think CM Punk is not that unhappy that he'll walk out permanently. I think he's just dissatisfied in general and working through a lot of injuries. And I think Vince McMahon or whoever else will convince him to come back, finish the remainder of his contract, and I think he'll have a pretty good run until then.